right. Yeah, they're cool.
Well, when you first saw them, what was your input?
They were cool. They were cool, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely see how they look when you get out there to the field. It's obviously different when you're taking pictures and kind of just no sunlight, no nothing, kind of just trying to be hidden. So definitely looking forward to seeing them out there on that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Marty Time TV and the Section 1904 podcast. I am Marty Caswell. I had to go ahead and double check. It's been a really, really long week. I wasn't sure who I was, where I was, what day it was, but I know that is Darren Smith over there on a Friday, a day before SDFC returns home versus Minnesota. We'll get there later in this show. But Darren, at long last, the best kept or the worst kept secret is out. The Padres have launched their all new City Connects. What do you think?
Well, you mentioned it's been a long week. It's been a long morning. It's like not even 10 o'clock and sitting here doing a third different show and trying to decide, am I going to get some exercise in? Am I going to take a shower at some point today?
Shower.
I don't know. If you watch this, you're like, hey, he's wearing the same thing he was wearing on Friar Territory. Hopefully you're just listening to this via the Section 1904 podcast, because I cannot claim to be at my best appearance at this hour. I guess we could talk about it again. The City Connects. I mean, I did something on Section 1904 yesterday. You and I talked about it a little bit with Friar Territory, so we can have that conversation again. Like you said, I mean, it really wasn't that big of a secret. The pictures and images that people saw, and I know there's like a million of these that float around. Oh, it's leaked and it's going to look like this and it's going to look like that. But the actual jerseys themselves and the hat, which had already been out there publicly via the team, it was what was put out and leaked a few weeks ago, which I always feel bad about. I do. Like, I feel bad for people, whether it's your type of jersey or whether you like it, don't like it, whatever. I do feel bad when this stuff leaks out, because you do your best to try to present it as some sort of surprise, I think. And then it leaks out and it gives everybody an opportunity to either crap all over it or, and like,
wait a second.
You can't
Maybe
say
you leak
anything.
it
You
out.
can't defend it. You can't explain it. You can't do anything when it leaks out.
Maybe you leak it out on purpose to go ahead and get just a bit of an early reaction as a preview to what it's going to be like. But we'll see.
But what if the reaction's terrible? What if it's like, those suck? It's terrible. Why would anybody want to wear such a thing? Like
doesn't
that
matter.
happens.
Listen, it's always terrible. It's always great, and it's terrible. There's nothing that gets controversy like fashion. People hated the previous City Connects too, and then they love them. And now you have players like, oh, I'm gonna miss them. Like Jake Cronenworth saying that, but it's fine. I'm looking forward to seeing them all together.
Plus, you also have to see what they look like on. I would say, like, that's a totally different thing. Seeing something on our phone, which is how most of us are still seeing this stuff. I know that there was a bunch of people around Petco Park on Thursday night that had the jerseys on and had some of the gear on. And I know people bought a bunch of it at the store. I have to read about how many millions of dollars. I had to listen to CEO Eric Grupner on the team broadcast last night talk about how they doubled their set. Good for them.
Yep.
But you also have to see
maybe they can go find a leadoff hitter.
Why would they do that when we have new video boards up in the towers and gear? So I do think it's hard to evaluate this stuff just on a phone, right? Which is oftentimes how we see it. We try to zoom in, and it doesn't look it doesn't look the same. It never really does. So we do have to see what it looks like. And I think even the players were saying that. You had this great quote from Manny where he's like, "Yeah, I mean, we gotta play them. Like, there is a functionality to these jerseys as well that we have to see how it breathes. We have to see how it feels. We have to see how it fits, right? Like Nike, Marty. I don't know if you're aware of this. Nike right now is finding itself in controversy is probably too dramatic of a word, but it finds itself in a situation that is not great with its World Cup jerseys. In that a lot of these soccer jerseys that Nike has made, they're having problems. The shoulders, for those that are watching on Marty Time TV, the shoulders are popping up like twin spires at the Kentucky Derby. And it looks like some of these players are wearing shoulder pads. And like Nike has admitted that, like, oh yeah, we kind of fucked this up. Pardon my language. We kind of messed this up. And I don't know what they're going to do about it. The World Cup's in 2 months. Teams already have their jerseys. So, there is that. Hopefully we don't see these players and they don't look like these international soccer players who are preparing for the World Cup, because that wouldn't be great. So I don't know that it's impacting any performance on the global soccer stage, but like it's embarrassing to see some of these pictures and see some of the biggest names in the sport and their jerseys, look like a 70-year-old woman.
Well, Darren, I want to get back to the fashion, because when I know we want to talk, pitching and bullpen and Jason Adam coming back and Jeremiah Estrada and Mason Miller, who's being absolutely ridiculous for the Padres with Bob Scanlan when he joins the show. But when I think fashion, when I think high fashion, I think Bob Scanlan, and there's no one better to welcome to Marty Time TV and the Section 1904 podcast than the one and only, the dapper, the fantastic Bob Scanlan, who was off a road trip yesterday and just dressed in his finery as normal. Hi, Bob. Hi, Scan, man. How are you?
Marty, great to see you. Darren, it's been a long time, my friend. Great to see you. And I'm sorry to let you down with the hat and the T-shirt. This is not high fashion by any means.
Wow.
I like seeing this side of you, though, because I'm sitting here thinking we're going to talk to Bob Scanlan. He's going to show up. His hair is going to be perfect. He's probably going to be already in his outfit that he's going to wear to Petco Park coming up a little later on. So thank you for showing us the human side of Bob Scanlan, what it's like when you're in your house, probably with a cup of coffee, getting set to start your day.
Oh, this is it. This is it right here. In fact, a lot of times I don't have the hat on. It's just a mess of a hair going on. So
really,
it's not pretty, guys. It's not pretty.
Yeah, there you go.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you as well. Scan, what is your day like? Tell us. I mean, you haven't done one of those videos, I don't think, where you're like, hey, follow me along as I prepare for my day broadcasting at Petco Park. What is a day like for Bob Scanlan? I don't even know if you're working tonight, but if you were, what does your day look like?
Yeah, no, I get up, I get myself a workout in, hopefully, if everything is going well, because I've got to, try to keep fitting in my suits every night. So I get the workout in, have a nice breakfast, take care of a few things on the honey-do list, and then right away, honestly, it's getting ready for the broadcast. I spent a ton of time just researching, trying to understand, what are we going to talk about today? What are the interesting stories? What do we want to present to the fans? What do we want to dig into? Who do we want to talk to today? What can we learn? What can we learn about this team? What's going on? And how can we best share it in a way that's going to be interesting and fun for people? So spend a lot of my time doing that. I'm at the ballpark by 1 or 2 o'clock for a 6:40 start. And that's pretty much it, man. It's a lot of baseball.
Good. That's the way. I mean, that's the way it is for you.
I'm sorry it's not more exciting. I'm not taking a surfing trip to somewhere or doing anything crazy. So,
what kind of workouts you doing these days?
Hitting the weights. Do the weights like 4 or 5 times a week. I'm going to go for a run today. Today's a run day, so I get that in.
Nice.
At some point, I'd like to maybe get a little golf in at the driving range at some point during this homestand, maybe once or twice. So I got a set of drums in my garage, so every now and then I'll try to loosen myself up with some drums and have a good time with that. Wow. So those are my escapes in any moment I can share with my wife. So
this is shocking.
Okay, well, good, because I mean, you are like physically, like, it is noticeable how like in good shape you are. I mean, how old are you now? Are you like in your 40s?
Yeah, I wish, Darren. Thanks, man.
Oh. Are you older than 50?
I'll be 60 in a few months.
Get out of here.
Yeah. The big 6-0.
Bro, I did not realize that. I would have figured we were about the same age. I'm 53, and like exercising like this stage of your life, it's certainly something that you absolutely have to do. So good for you, man, because you look terrific. I would not in a million years have guessed that you're going on 60.
Oh, I appreciate that. I've been very blessed to have an athletic career, and I didn't want to be one of those athletes where when they're done playing, they just fall apart. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to take care of myself. I want to try to give my wife every reason not to trade me in for a younger model. And, I had a friend, an older friend, who gave me some great advice. He says, look, man, as the older you get, maintenance is the key. You just got to put more effort in and more effort in. So I'm trying to follow his advice, and I'm very blessed and grateful. So thanks, guys.
Wow. Good for you. All right. Sorry, Marty. I know you wanted to talk about Randy Vasquez and Mason Miller and all the baseball stuff.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. This is good. I like this side of Bob Scanlan too. So I like hearing about this. But you play the drums, huh? Who else is musical in that Padres clubhouse?
I bang around. I don't know. I haven't figured out who the musicians are, because remember we had. It seems like every year there's sort of a closet musician in there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure who it is this year. I'll have to try to find that out. So we'll see.
Okay, Bob. I know we want to talk pitching with you. I know Darren brought up your insight on AI and the Padres pitching staff. But when Craig Stammen launches the 14th different lineup in 14 games, what's the most creative way you will ask him? How do you ask him the same question with the Padres lineup without it being the same question every single day?
Yeah, and first, before I get into that, can I just make one other comment? It's so cool to see the two of you together again. I mean, this is one of my favorite things on radio, and I've shared this, Darren. I don't know if I've shared it with you, Marty, but the show that you guys did on radio for so many years, I learned so much from you guys, and even on topics that I couldn't have cared less about, I found myself just enthralled. So kudos to you guys for the work that you guys have always done together, and I appreciate everything that you've shared with me just as a listener and as a sports fan, and for expanding my horizons on things. And to see the two of you working together again, it warmed my heart. And I saw it the other day, Marty, and I asked Marty, "Are you guys working together again?" He goes, "Yeah, we're working together again." So congratulations and thank you. Thank you for being there for everything that you guys have done for us. So
thanks.
And now talking about the lineups, I don't think we need to ask the question anymore, do we, Marty? Because Craig has made it really clear what he is doing, why he is doing it, and that he doesn't want to keep doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which is really cool because he's been very candid about saying, we're going to try a bunch of different things here early in the season. And is this what I want the MO to be down the road? No, at some point I want it to be, this guy stepped up and this combination is working and we've got some stability, because Craig understands. And as a pitcher, as a relief pitcher, he appreciated knowing what his role was, when he was going to be put in the game. And guys do take pride in that regardless. And I know there's, you hear the things of, oh, this guy wants to close and he's in the setup role and he's not happy. And a lot of that's BS. I mean, guys, even though they might not get the initial role that they think that they want at the beginning of the year, when they know that this is their job, they own this is yours, this is your responsibility, they step up and they take pride in that. So I think he understands that and appreciates that aspect of it. So it's not a guy that's randomly trying to do a bunch of different things or feels like that sort of for chaos, for lack of a better word, because there's been so many changes and everything. That's not what he's striving for. I think what he's really trying to do is make sure that something doesn't go untapped early in the season, right? Let's try guys in different positions. Let's try to find out who's comfortable in what role. Let's discover all of these things so that we don't figure it out in July and we find out, oh my gosh, this is actually a better combination and this guy's comfortable in this spot and we never really knew it. Now we wasted 2 or 3 months trying to force him somewhere else. So I think that's really my impression of what's going on. It's more of a, hey, 2 things. First of all, we're going to experiment with a bunch of different things. We want to find out what's going to click. And if we do find that combination early, awesome. But we're going to explore this thing. And I think the other thing that it does, guys, is it sort of sets a standard to the players, hey, we are going to try stuff. This is not going to be a static situation. And some players may be uncomfortable with that early on, but I think if you know that you're going to be making moves and you want guys to be adaptable and you want to set a little bit of a tone of, hey, it's whatever we need to do to win a baseball game on this given night. And, this is the combination that we're going to use. The guys are sort of more used to doing it. Comfortable and being uncomfortable, I guess, is sort of the mode. You hear it with the special warfare oftentimes. That's one of their strengths, is comfortable being uncomfortable. And so I think there might be an element of that as well of, hey, this isn't static, guys. We're going to try different things and don't be shocked when it happens. So, but I think Craig is hoping that at some point they find something that settles down a little bit here. And, we can talk about this offense and some interesting numbers that are going on in the background, because it's kind of curious when you dig deeper in and see what's happening and what's not happening with this offense right now.
Okay, like what? I'd be curious there. That's a good cliffhanger. I will. Well, I'm kind of curious to know how you view this.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, it's pretty fascinating that you've got your top 5 guys. You've got Fernando, Manny, Crone, Jackson Merrill, and Xander Bogaerts all hitting 229 or lower coming into yesterday's ball game. I mean, that's like, okay, what's going on there? And on top of that, in midst of that, you're still a better than 500 team at this point. So, I mean, that's pretty good to begin with. It's like, okay, things will get better. So I was kind of wondering, well, what is going on right here? And part of it is, and I'm not trying to make excuses in any way, but I'm looking at the batting average on ball in play, which, sometimes I feel like that's a little bit overrated and what's really going on there. But they had, for all season long, they've had the third or worse, lowest batting average on balls put in play. And for some people, that's sort of a measurement of luck, right? Because usually the average is about 300, no matter what. My thing has always been, well, if you got a low batting average ball in play, how much of it is because you're just not hitting the ball very well, right? You're not hitting the ball hard. When I dig down into it, they've actually got the third highest number of hard hit balls. They've always had at least the top 10 in terms of exit velocity. So it's not a thing of, well, they're not hitting well because they're just hitting, they're not barreling it up. They are barreling it up. So I think some of it is a little bit of this should balance out, right? The other interesting thing is they've had a ton of ground balls. They're one of the highest in terms of ground ball rate, and they're also one of the highest in those ground balls being turned into outs. And so that sort of led me to this next dive that I was doing. I was like, okay, we're hitting the ball hard. We're not getting any love for it. What's going on here? And then I'm looking at, well, who have we faced so far in opposing starting rotations? Tarek Skubal, Framber Valdez, Logan Webb, Sonny Gray, Ranger Suarez, Connolly Early. All of these guys are like in the top 10 of ground ball specialists in all of Major League Baseball. So maybe it's not a huge shocker that there's been a ton of ground balls, because the guys that you're facing every single night are rolling up ground balls. And then the other guys that you face, besides those guys, you Bubba Chandler the other day blowing 99 to 100 miles an hour, and then you top it off with Paul Skeens. I'm really curious, Darren. Again, I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to investigate this and explore like what's really going on here. I'd be curious if any other offense in baseball has faced that kind of a starting rotation lineup in terms of ground ball specialists in some cases and just flat out stuff. So again, not an excuse. I'm just trying to look into this and understand, is this going to get better? What's really going on here? I don't have all the answers, but it seems to me that there's a certain element that would suggest, okay, things should get better because you are hitting the ball hard, and things should get better because you're not going to be facing Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens and the Bubba Chandlers and the Framber Valdez's of the world all season long. But it remains to be seen, and hopefully they get it going. One other thing, which I was curious about, is like, okay, you're lowest in batting average, you're in the lowest in on-base percentage, you're in the lowest in slugging percentage, but you're in the middle of the pack of runs scored. How does that happen? And then it's like, well, are we taking advantage of opposing pitchers' errors, opposing teams' errors? And I think that might be it. I was just looking into that before I joined you guys, and they've got 12 unearned runs scored. And I'm really curious where that ranks in terms of the rest of the league, in terms of unearned runs scored, which is nothing to apologize for. It's basically saying, look, when the other team is making errors and they're giving us opportunities, we're taking advantage of it. So there's something to be said for that as well. So something else I'm going to just dig a little deeper into and see if that might be helping them here in the early going.
One of the ways of looking at the BABIP, right, the batting average ball in play, and I always find myself kind of confused in these conversations because, I'm aware of, not as aware as you are, Scan, but, I do try to pay attention to as much as possible, just so, pops up in conversation, you don't, look ridiculous. Yeah. But let's look at Thursday night's game, for an example. Castellanos comes up there at some point in extra innings, absolutely laces one. And the kid Karros at third base jumps up, makes a great play, right? Yeah. Get it on the screws. I mean, how much of batting average ball in play, and I know what you're saying about what the overall numbers look like and what it's an indicator of, but we're also living in an era now where even without shifting, they're shifting, right? And defensive positioning is such an important part, and we have spray chart after spray chart, and we have so much data, maybe too much, but like how much of that, of what you're trying to do or what you're hoping to do with some of those numbers is impacted because the other team has a guy there, right? Like that's an important part of this. They have a guy there. You have a Manny Machado someplace. They have a Karros there last night who's there to frustrate you because you feel like, gosh, I put a great swing on this and I didn't get rewarded. But yeah, like it's an atom ball because that guy is just standing in that spot at the right time, right?
Just another example of why Marty Caswell and Darren Smith is the smartest show on talk radio, right? Because you guys see these types of things. It's a great question, Darren. And it's one of the things I started asking myself also when I'm looking at this ground ball rate and why are we the lowest in terms of ground ball or the highest of converted outs on those ground balls? And I'm thinking because maybe your defense on the other side is being put in the proper place And on top of that, you've got guys on the mound, that list that I gave you, that can actually execute their pitches. And so maybe not a shocker that you're hitting a 99-mile-an-hour ball on the ground, but it's right to the shortstop that's playing in the hole because they've pitched you exactly where they're trying to play you. It's a great question, Darren. And I don't have the deeper analytics at this point to determine that. That would be something that I know the organizations look at that very deeply in terms of, from their perspective, how is our defensive positioning going? Is it working for us? And some of it also has to do with our pitchers executing such that they're pitching into these shifts that we're creating for ourselves. So it's a combination of things. But I think you bring up a great question, and I don't have the answer to it, but it's definitely something that I was pondering also. I was like, how much of it is bad luck versus, no, actually, defense is executing. They're pitching where they're supposed to be pitching, and their defense is in the right place, like you just described. Great point.
I love it. Darren's asking great questions. I hear on a Friday on his third show. Hasn't showered, first cup of coffee, asking great questions.
He's looking good, though, Darren. You're always looking good.
I want to just sneak in one thing because you're just talking about the frustrations of defensive positioning. I know there was wondering why was Tatis batting? Why did he bunt yesterday? And what inning was it? Was it 13th inning, 12th inning? It's all.
Yeah, it was 12.
Do you think that's part of the reason why? I mean, well, I'm seeing different things in his bat because he's not making contact in a lot of his outs. But do you think that's part of the reason why he decided, listen, doesn't matter if I'm going to hit, if I make contact, I'm hitting it at some anyways. Is that why you bunt in that situation?
It's interesting, and I talked about it a little bit on the postgame show. I had no problem with that. Okay, so it's a combination of things. First of all, and I didn't mention this in the show last night, but one of the things I always go back to when we start talking about guys bunting and why is that guy bunting? I remember seeing at Petco Park, it was a number of years ago, 10, 12 years ago now, one of the greatest hitters ever, Albert Pujols, putting down a bunt at Petco Park to get a runner over from second to third base. And it so resonated with me because I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? This is one of the greatest hitters of our generation, a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question about it. And yet he understands that what this moment requires right now is to get that guy over to third base, period. It's not about Albert going deep. It's not about Albert driving in the run. It's not about Albert being the hero. It's about Albert doing what Albert needs to do right here, right now, in this baseball situation to help his team win a baseball game. And that so resonated with me that I just like, who's bigger than Albert that you can't do what the team needs you to do right now? So I had absolutely no problem with Fernando coming up there. And we've heard, the mantra over the last few years of, I think Mike Schilt maybe brought it up, and he gave credit to Fernando for saying it, is like, do what the baseball game tells you to do. Do what the situation tells you to do right now, regardless of who you are, assuming that you have the skills to execute it. And, everybody should have the ability to execute a bunt. There's no reason not to, right? So I had no problem with it. And I felt like, Fernando read the situation. And there's certain times where guys, they just internally feel it. Now, that guy last night that he was facing, I think, is a guy that, obviously he's not blowing 100 miles an hour. And you can say to yourself, Fernando, if there's anybody that you're going to pick on right now, it'd be this guy throwing 88 mile an hour two-seam fastballs. But that being said, sometimes as a player, you just sense, you know what, internally, this is what I feel like I need to do to be successful right now. Certain times a left-handed batter gets up there and he feels like, you know what, I can get the runner over because I know I can pull a ground ball to the right side. I can execute that and give myself a chance to get a hit as well. Other times are like, this guy's nasty. I have a chance of popping it up. I'm better off trying to get the bunt down right now. So it's a baseball player, I should say, having the intuition of understanding what needs to be done. What are my options to get it done? What is my best way to try to execute this right now? And the other part of it was, guys, aside from all that just internal, how do I get it done, what I need to do, putting my ego aside and saying, I've got trust in the guys behind me to get it done. And I think that was an important message for Fernando to send to the other guys. Craig has talked about this a couple times here early in the season, and not in a negative way, but when guys get off to slow starts or they're struggling a little bit, you have a tendency to sort of start to internalize, right? What do I need to do to get myself back on track here? And you lose a little bit of what do I need to do right now to help my team win a baseball game? It's a very natural thing to have happen, but the more that you can get outside of yourself and start looking at what do I need to do to help the team right now, surprisingly, you end up actually performing better because you're not so focused on yourself. And so I think also just from a team standpoint, Fernando's sending that message of, you know what, Jackson, I got trust in you. And if they walk Manny, I got trust in you. And if they walk Manny, Xander, I've got trust in you that somebody's going to get the job done. And you know what? They got the job done. So I thought it was a smart baseball play, and I thought it was an unselfish play, and I thought it was just a good message that he sent to the rest of his teammates. And thank goodness it worked out with a grand slam. So that always helps too, right?
Yeah, indeed, right. One of the maybe the details that was lost in the length of the game is that Randy Vasquez started that game. And maybe not the best that he's had to start 2026, but Scan and better in this sport than to take a victory lap. Like I always thought, I'd like to see a little bit more from Randy Vasquez, not just him in terms of him going deeper, but maybe a little bit more trust from the organization. And we've really seen a better version of him. There's a lot of peripheral numbers. Again, we could talk about velocity, we could talk about first pitch strikes, we could talk about some of the stuff I think that we've seen. I don't want to bore everybody with this because you are the expert in this. Like, what have you seen from Randy Vasquez that you think is different and better than what it was in 2025?
Well, you just nailed a lot of them, Darren, and not to bore people, but I actually went back because it started last year. It's not as though, oh my gosh, what happened with Randy Vasquez? He showed up in spring training throwing 97. We actually saw the progression over the course of the season last year. He was 98, 99 coming out of spring training. Like, well, what's going on here? There were a lot of questions about what he'd done in the offseason, his prep and everything. But as the season went on, we started to see a guy, the velocity was getting better. We saw a guy who early in the season really struggled to throw first pitch strikes. He was nibbling a lot, which maybe is understandable when you know that your stuff is short, right? We also saw a guy that wasn't able to finish innings off. Oftentimes he'd get the first 2 outs, and the next thing you know, it's a walk and then a base hit. And you go from a nice quick 1, 2, 3 to bases are loaded, and you kind of get out of it, thank goodness. But man, did we really have to go through all that with 2 outs to get there? But when he got called up in September, because that's really when he came back and was like, this guy's better. And some of it was the velocity, no question about it. He had 2 miles an hour more. He was in the 95 range. He'd kind of been progressing, 91, 92, 93s. And then he came back in September and he's at 95 on a pretty consistent basis. That right there helps, right? It usually knocks off 20 or 30 points off opposing batting average right there. But also just internally, you feel better about yourself. It's like, man, I've got a weapon. I've got a little something now. I don't have to nibble as much. So I looked at his numbers actually going back from that September 1st call up. And number one, he'd increased his first pitch strikes there. And again, I'm sorry if this is boring, but this is what makes you successful on the mound. He was throwing 58% first pitch strikes up to that point. After that, he was 70% first pitch strikes. That's a huge difference. You're putting yourself in a much better opportunity to perform. We talked about the velocity being better. The other thing that he did much better is he started throwing his off speed, his non-fastballs for strikes at 20% greater rate. So again, he's not trying to nibble. He's able to get in the zone. And the final part was he was finishing guys off. I mean, he reduced his on-base percentage with 2 outs from over 400 to 222. I mean, that's basically cutting it in half. So you put it all together, I'm getting ahead. I've got more velo. I'm throwing more strikes with my off speed. And when I'm getting 2 outs, I'm slamming the door and I'm getting off the mound so that I don't have to spend another 15 or 20 bullets to barely get through the 4th inning. You put it all together, and the guy did much better at the end of the season. And then he took it into spring training or in off season, worked his tail off. And that's the number one thing I'm asking. Hey man, you got 2 more miles an hour now in spring. What happened? Is I worked hard this off season. Things that he didn't do the previous season. He did a lot more throwing as well. So I give all the credit in the world to Randy Vasquez. This kid, he survived his own flaw of not getting himself ready for last season. He survived it, and he got himself in a place now where he's doing a great job. You can't take anything away from him. It's not like, he's getting lucky right now. He's throwing well. He's using his cutter. He's mixing his pitches. He's getting ahead. He's finishing guys off. And obviously that's the work with Ruben Niebla, Chris Apicachia also helping him. But the guy that he's given credit to also was Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish talked to him about, this is how you prep. This is how you get ready for games. This is how you prepare yourself. And who better to talk to, right? So credit to Yu Darvish, and also for Randy for listening to it, absorbing it, and actually applying it. So it's been a great story. And fortunately for the Padres, a great story for them as well, because they've needed him badly, and hopefully it continues.
Can I know I mean, I could do this all day, but you have places to go. And at some point, we all have to shower.
I love talking ball with you guys. So thanks for letting me share. So
I know like it's so taboo to talk about tipping pitches. Like I know that's a huge taboo. And I've been around teams and they're like, oh, don't talk about tipping pitches. We only want to, and this was sort of what was said about German Marquez after his first start. And I saw your report, I think, from Pittsburgh, where you talked a little bit about, how much better it was looking in start number 2. And you talked a little bit about the coaching staff and how advanced some of the scouting is now when it comes to tipping pitches. It's not just, we've had a lot of different phases here where some guys can figure it out from the dugout. There's been some camera work around baseball for decades. It's not like it just started with the Houston Astros. And now artificial intelligence. I don't want you to have to ruin any relationship there, but I thought it was so interesting.
Scan.
Yeah, like how is artificial intelligence being used to detect pitchers tipping pitches?
It's fascinating, isn't it? And look, it's always been going on, and I guess a taboo subject in some ways, in that teams don't want to talk about it or reveal that they know it's going on or how they get it. But it's been going on forever, right? Guys have always tipped pitches and opposing teams have always tried to figure it out. In fact, I had a couple times on my coaching staff, guys that were hired as coaches, not because they were so great at setting the runners or so great at coaching first base, but they could pick stuff off. They could pick off signs from the opposing managers. They could pick up tips and stuff like that. That's what they did. That's what their specialty was as a coach. But now it's gotten so advanced, and understandably so. And I don't have a problem with it. I know some people feel like, oh, it's cheating, or it's not cheating. That's the gamesmanship of the game, right? That's what goes on. In talking to different people in different organizations, apparently they actually have these programs now that what they do is they track every movement on the pitcher's body. They break it down, every joint. I mean, something's moving, right? And they're able to put it on a pitcher and it tracks all their moves. And they say, oh yeah, on a whatever, fastball, his hand's like this, but on his breaking ball, his hand might be like this, or we see the glove is open a little bit more, or we're seeing the finger move, whatever it may be. And obviously anytime that you can bring, an AI into something to be able to break down just mass quantities of data and figure something out, that's the next step. So, and it's a real thing. And in talking to German the other day, and here's the balance also, right, guys, of how much of it is you're tipping your pitches and how much of it you're just throwing some bad pitches up there, dude.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter whether they know it's coming or not. So let's not make these weird things up in your mind and get too much in it. But sometimes it's a real thing. And in talking to German the other day, I said, after the ball game, hey, nice job. It really looked good. And I asked him, I said, how much of it was you throwing better and how much of it do you think was the tipping that was going on? He goes, you know what? I actually felt like I threw the ball better in game 1 where I got beat up. He goes, I do believe that they knew what was coming. He goes, I had good stuff today. It was okay, but I actually had better stuff in the first game, but I wasn't telling them what was coming. So sometimes it's a real thing. And it's fascinating how the different apps and the different software now that these teams have access to try to break all that stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, we all know coaches that have been really good at this, right? Yeah. One of them just unfortunately passed away in Davey Lopes. Like, he was the guy that was known inside of the Padres dugout 2 different stints through to be able to process that stuff in real time. But Scan, like I was telling Marty the other day, like I remember walking into the visiting clubhouse at Petco Park and right in full view of everybody, I can remember it was still when Dave Roberts was playing. I want to say he was with San Francisco, and he had 2 or 3 different monitors up there, and he had the starting pitcher up on these 2 or 3 different monitors, and he was using tape, like actual pieces of tape, to freeze the video of a pitcher, at the top of his release point, and he would put the tape, and then he would say fastball, and then he would put the tape, and he would say this was his breaking pitch, or this was his slider, or whatever. Yeah. And like it was done in full view of everybody, right? And I'm in there like, oh, like they're breaking down, like like what this looks like. Yeah. And then to think about, I'm sure they probably did that to you. Like this was all, and now to see it here, this is just the modern version of that, right? Like there's nothing, like you said, nefarious about it. It's just the reality of the world that we live in.
No, nothing nefarious at all. I mean, you're just looking for advantages that are going to help you win a baseball game. Now, I have an issue with it if you're taking that electronics into the game during the game, right? I mean, that's a whole different deal, right? I'm not on board with that. I do believe there is a level of quote unquote cheating, but as far as just trying to give yourself an edge, I don't have any problem with it. And it's a great story you just shared about how they used to do it, with literally sitting down and putting a piece of tape and figuring out, I think there's an eighth of an inch more over here. He's definitely tipping. And look, sometimes you may have all the tips in the world and it doesn't help you one single bit. I remember one
some
time
guys don't want it.
Yeah. Well, some guys don't want it. And look, in the old days, what we would do is if we felt like something was being tipped out in between innings, I'd just go, hey man, put down curveball and I'm going to throw a fastball high and tight. That'll put an end to that. So, but you can't do as much of that anymore. And I remember one time when I was with the Cubs, we were facing Buddy Black, as it turns out. And I remember we had a tell on him. Had something to do with, he slowed down just a little bit. It did something on his off-speed pitches. Anyway, we all knew it. I remember the guys talking about it in the dugout, and I'm thinking, we're going to crush Buddy today. We're going to tear him apart. He goes into the 6th or 7th inning, and we scored 1 run, I think. So even when you know it's coming, sometimes it doesn't help you out.
All right.
Bob, I have one question before I turn this over to Darren, because I know you have to go ahead and get that pristine head of hair ready for today's game. You have to get your suit on. My gosh. But okay, I'll let Darren choose the question, because I have 1,000 questions to ask you right now, but we don't have too much time. Darren, should I ask him about Luis Campusano, or should I ask about Jeremiah Estrada? You pick which one you're more interested in hearing about.
Well, I mean, listen, Campusano, the conversation about Campusano is one that people love having. So yeah, I think I'd rather hear that one, especially because he had a good night last night.
Okay, I'm going to save my Jeremiah Estrada. Needs to eat more of his grandmother's tamales because he's losing weight. So that's why the velocity is gone, for a different day. We'll do that a different day. I heard Craig Stammen talking about the work he's done, a bit more trust with the pitchers. What's been the difference with this guy on his last chance for the Padres?
I'm fascinated with the Jeremiah Estrada eating more tamales from his grandmother topic, to be honest. Like, we need technology. We've got Marty Caswell with the answer to fix the velo issue. Yeah. No, look, Luis Campusano, this kid's been putting in work for a long period of time to try to improve both sides of his game, right? And it should be getting better, and it has been getting better. So hopefully this is the time where it actually clicks for him, because there's really nothing left for him to prove in AAA, right? I mean, he's dominated that level for a long period of time. I had a really fun conversation with him in spring training, and I didn't know we were going to go in this direction with him, but it had something to do with his crushing because I asked him, what'd you do last year in AAA? I mean, he basically got better watching video games. And I don't want to give away all the secrets of what he learned in watching the video games, but he was watching video games and actually watching some of his own at-bats in these video games. And he started realizing, wait a minute, this is where I'm actually supposed to, this is my hotspot. This is my power alley. This is where my strength is. I am not going to be chasing stuff in different parts of the zone anymore. I'm committing to this. And he did, and he worked on it, and he actually remembers the plate appearance in the game, and he remembers who the guy he was facing. And you do have moments like this, guys, as a player, where you just have this epiphany, and you're like, you reach a point of exasperation or a moment of clarity, whatever it may be, and you're just like, I'm going to try this today and see what happens. And he remembers the plate appearance where he went up there and he said, I am only looking in this part of the zone. And sure enough, he didn't chase the stuff that he normally chased. He got the pitch that he wanted, and he crushed it. And it was like, there it is. This is the aha moment. So credit to him, whatever it takes. But the point is, he's been working hard. He's been trying to do different things. He's trying to improve himself as a player. He found something that really helped him in AAA last year in terms of his plate discipline and understanding where his strengths are as a batter. And he's applying them this year. And hopefully it carries over into the big leagues, right? As far as his receiving, I think one of the big confidence builders for him was last year working with Yu Darvish. And it's interesting to bring up Yu's name again, right? But this guy is an influential guy. For, normally you're taking this young catcher that's trying to learn how to catch, and you're like, we're going to put you with a guy that's got 11 different offerings.
Right.
Up with that, right? He worked with you, and I remember seeing him in Wrigley Field before a game that he was going to catch, and he was going over notes. I mean, it was for like 20 or 30 minutes. And afterwards, like, what do you got going on? He's like, man, I got to study this. I'm learning all their hitters. I'm learning what he put in the work. he was putting in the mental work to try to up his game. Now, granted, it's PitchCom, right? So you can still push the button and say, no, man, I'm going with something else. But the point is, he wasn't taking the lazy approach with it. He's like, I want to understand what we're doing here, why we're doing it, what you wants to do, how we're going to approach these guys, how we're going to attack these guys. So again, he's put in the work, and hopefully this is the year, guys, right? Because Marty, to your point, it's like, how many opportunities do you get?
Yep.
And you run out of options, and it's like, hey, it's time to put up. And hopefully this is his year. And he's come up with some big hits in the last couple of games. He had some RBIs on the road. So I think we all see what we hope we've been expecting, and hopefully we can continue to see moving forward, because you do need 2 catchers in Major League Baseball right now to help you get through a season.
Listen, boys and girls, Bob Scanlan says, watch more video games. Tell your parents.
No, that's not the message. That's not the message.
Yeah, you want to be a competent big leaguer? Play more video games. But he is getting better also. He's getting better as a receiver. I mean, I still feel like, in terms of, he had a good play late at the plate last night, came in defensively late. I still think maybe, some of the guys maybe aren't, 100% there, but in terms of how far he's come in a short amount of time, Scan, like he's getting better as a receiver.
Yeah. And I think last night's play was sort of a good indication of it, because that's a key moment in that game. Right. And I think one of the things that I had heard, and I'd seen, quite frankly, in some cases later in the game when the pressure was really getting on, and you know how the game speeds up in those situations, it just felt like there were moments at times in previous years where things were it's just getting a little out of control, where bases are moving and the cutoff throw is coming in, it gets away, and where are you going, and now he gets it, and which base are you throwing to try to get the backup. It seemed to be speeding up on him at times. And that's a position where you're the field general. You can't have things speeding up. You've got to be under control in that situation. When all hell's breaking loose in the 9th inning with the game on the line, that's the guy that you have to be, lining up cutoff men and knowing where the ball's going and being able to direct traffic. And when the ball comes to you, knowing which runner you're going to try to go after, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot, along with trying to manage the game and the pitcher that's on the mound and getting those final outs. And I just thought last night's moment was just one of those moments that could have sped up. And you're trying to get the tag and you're trying to put it down too fast. And the next thing you know, hold on a sec. I just got knocked off. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we still got you.
All right. I can't.
We can hear you.
Okay.
And we can see you.
All right. Great. I'll just keep talking then. My screen went dead. Anyway, the point is, it was a moment where he could have rushed things, right? And he didn't. So credit to him for staying calm, cool, collected, getting that throw from Jake, putting the tag down. I thought he handled it beautifully. And I think maybe just another example of his continued maturity and growth as a player, especially at a premium position back there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a value there for sure. And, again, like I know sometimes we look and we're like, well, he's not catching this guy, or they take him out for this situation. But I think that's an excellent point. Scan, if you cannot see us, then I think there's no point in going on. So,
I'm back.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, we were going to wrap with you anyway. Thank you for all the time. It is great connecting with you. Thank you for the kind words earlier. We do appreciate you as always. We love watching you. Always appreciate you. And we definitely learn something every time we have these conversations. So we can't have enough of them on our end.
As do I. I appreciate you guys so much. Honestly, you guys are the best. Thanks for having me on to talk some hardball, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the ballpark.
All right, Scam Man. We appreciate you. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. There you go. That is Bob Scanlan.
He's the
stopping by.
He's the absolute best, man. What a gem. You guys should have a show together, your own show. You have just great rhythm, great chemistry together. And I learned so much just listening. I know it's a show, me and you, but when I hear you guys talk, it's a great conversation. So good stuff, D. Smith.
That's Scan. I mean, it's just like he's got so much insight, and he's just got such a great way of telling stories and delivering information. Like everything he says is just like it's he sees it really well. In a way I think that is really unique for him. And, I've always gravitated towards Scam because, we understand. I know what it's like, Marty. I'm a team broadcaster too, so like, there's a certain, you're not going to go out there and bury guys, on a game in, game out basis, but, you can make your point, and you can do it efficiently. And I think Bob's really good at that stuff.
And the
I think
gift
he's
is
really good.
he has a gift of storytelling, and not
Yeah.
everyone can do that. It's one thing to go ahead and break down baseball plays, right, and situations, but he is also a wonderful storyteller. So I
But
really
why
appreciate
and
that.
like
Good
why
stuff.
is this stuff happening? Like all his points
Yeah,
about
yeah.
batting average, ball in play. Again, some of these numbers and some of these stats, like people are like, "What? This is nerd talk." But like
Nerd.
you better learn how to communicate in this language, otherwise you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
So. And appreciate that too. I always do remember some of the text messages that Scan would send from a random horse racing interview and be like, "I don't know anything about horse racing, but thank you for doing that."
Yeah, he's right.
Good
He's
to know
right.
we haven't completely lost our touch.
You haven't. You got a great question, Darren. You got multiple great questions. So good for you. By the way, although I disagree with you, I was far more interested in the Jeremiah Estrada Tamales conversation than I was Campusano, because that's still TBD, and we'll see what happens. By the way, his
I
whole
just hope
point
that
though
guy's
about
okay. Like, is he all right? Like
who?
physically?
Estrada, he lost weight. Maybe he needs to listen. Kids need to watch more video games. Estrada needs to eat more food. Needs to eat more. Let's go. Maybe
don't know.
losing weight isn't a good thing if you're a pitcher. Maybe you want to just keep it on, So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But we'll see what happens. What do you have going on you have SDFC tomorrow, right? Minnesota. What's the forecast? It's gonna.
It's supposed to rain today. I think
Oh, it
tonight,
is?
and
No.
I think so.
No,
That's what
it's-
Alexa told me. Alexa told me there was a
Alexa is wrong.
60% chance of rain today.
No, I have a 0% chance of rain. I have my Android. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Wait, it just refreshed.
Saturday looks good, actually. According to my iPhone, in Imperial Beach, no rain. On
Nice.
Saturday, sunny and 66. So that's good news. Good weather for Minnesota
good.
United. A rematch
nice.
of the Western Conference semifinal.
Good. All right.
Totally different looking Minnesota United team.
Darren, okay, so for those of you watching here on Marty Time TV or listening on the Section 1904 podcast, I saw the email you put out there yesterday, right? Now, what happened to SDFC, and why did one of their players have a black eye?
Oh, Yepe, our
Yepe,
captain, Yepe
Yepe.
Dabrowski. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
what
there was a spirited week of practice, spirited week of training.
Oh,
out
really?
there.
You buying that?
Yeah, and he he said he took an errant elbow to the face.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
of course, naturally, you're like, I'm skeptical of this. Is there
No.
a fight? What's going on around here? And
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any names, but I do think that there was a midfielder on the training ground who might have tossed an errant elbow. But they put him up there at the podium, so we all
Okay.
got an opportunity.
Good.
Yeah, no, I did post that on Substack. I'm waiting for somebody there to be like, "Did you really have to post that picture?" But
Yes.
yes, this is what they like. This is how meaningful. Like, these guys aren't just going through the motions. They haven't won, Marty, in 35 days. It's been a long time. Like this whole baseball versus other sport thing is an interesting conversation about like the ups and downs of baseball and
Mhm.
riding that roller coaster every day. And like, you lose like one game, 2 games, people are like, "Oh, this team sucks, straight everybody, fire Preller."
Right.
And like in the other sport, when you play once a week and you're on a stretch where you have lost and had a couple of draws, haven't won in over a month. It feels like it's been an eternity. Like, oh, we ever going to win another game? And hopefully it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know that it's a great Minnesota side, but we're dealing with some stuff too. So, yeah, it'll be good to be back home. And if the weather looks like it'll be better, then 2 totally different styles. One team that wants to play, with possession and attacking, and another team that wants to sit back and defend and just take a couple of opportunities per game. So, different contrast of styles for sure.
I
at
need to get out there.
Snapdragon Stadium. Yeah, well,
I need
you
to
want
get,
to go
I need to get
tomorrow?
there. I can't go tomorrow. I have other plans, but I need to get out there for a game soon. I love it's so much. It's such a blast going there. I love everything about it. Taking the trolley out there, the vibe that you get on the trolley. Everyone has their gear on, singing, dancing, couple red sippy cups. It's fun. The scene, the target. The one thing I haven't done yet, and I want to do this because I miss it. Is tailgating. The tailgate scene's legit. It's really good. Manny had some new. Speaking of gear, I know we're speaking about all the City Connects the Padres have. He had a really a nice new SDFC sweatshirt on yesterday. It was like a pale blue. No, it doesn't ring a bell to you.
I'm
Maybe
trying
just
to-
gets pale blue. Pale blue.
have a picture?
Never mind. I didn't get a picture in time, but
They've got a lot of gear. There's a lot of
Yeah,
good
they've got a lot
gear
of good
around
gear.
town. There's
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
good
good between SDFC,
yeah,
Wave,
there's a lot.
and Padres. I mean, everybody's going to be broke by the end of the summer because nobody can possibly have enough money to keep themselves all geared up with the very latest from all these different.
By the way, and I had to run out of here shortly, Darren. But Are you going to the World? Have you purchased any World Cup tickets? I was in the press box yesterday, and one of the guys I was sitting to, he's like, "Hey, are you going to Mexico City?" I'm like, "No, I can't. I was planning to, but things kind of fell apart." And he said he's not going to. He really wants to, right? He works in Tijuana, but he's saving his money for the World Cup. How expensive is this thing going to be? And are you going to buy tickets?
Well, I've already tried to buy tickets. I'm glad I didn't win the lottery, like the FIFA lottery, not the actual lottery. Because it sounds like they're really just like screwing a bunch of people over here with some of these tickets. I mean, none of this has gone well. Like this has been really, really poorly received. But they also are receptive. They understand that this market is all about the commercialism and the consumerism and such. And they've priced these things accordingly, and they've priced a lot of people out. I mean, there's story after story after story about how FIFA has completely fumbled when it comes to some of the pricing, and they even just adjusted them a couple of days ago. To answer your question, no, I have not purchased any tickets yet. I am still waiting for an opportunity now that we know all 48 teams in the World Cup. I'm looking at very specific venues. I'm not necessarily.
Me too.
I think
Top 2
venues.
Yeah. Where do you want to go?
Well, I'll give you 3. I mean, they're the 3 Mexican cities. Guadalajara, Mexico City, or Monterrey. Like those are the 3 places that I would like to go. Like I know, you certainly appreciated going and visiting NFL stadia in your life, but I have no interest in going to Kansas City in July. None at all. Couldn't care less. Don't want to be there. Don't want anything to do with it. Don't want to be a part of that, not only for the weather, but whatever. It's Kansas City in an NFL stadium. I could do that at any time. Rather go to a proper soccer stadium somewhere, even if that just is south of the border. I would think about Atlanta. I think Atlanta was, I've always liked Atlanta. I think downtown Atlanta is a lot of fun. I would think Seattle, Vancouver would be a destination, but like Vancouver's Dallas, Houston, forget it. I'm not going.
No, Vancouver. Vancouver is incredible. No, absolutely not. Vancouver is absolutely incredible. And yeah, I love the food in Atlanta. So there you go.
So I'm just trying to find the right sweet spot of a flight, for where I live, Marty, I can get to the TJ airport really quickly. Flights are usually cheaper to go to those 3 places that I mentioned. Might be team specific. There is a match that's being played in Guadalajara between Spain and Uruguay that I've had my eyes on for a while, but those tickets right now are through the roof. So I'll have to go to SeatGeek and try to find. But I will. Yeah, I mean, I would like to go, but it is expensive. It is really, really expensive. And, I think I'd like to go just experience the atmosphere around some of the places.
Yep.
To see what the culture, like they've had to cancel some of the fan fests in certain venues because it's just like they were charging people money for it, which is like, how do you charge for a fan fest?
Fan fest should always be free.
Always should be free. And FIFA's again, like the amount of price gouging going on here is alarming people around the world, but it's standard operating procedure around these parts. I don't know if you read that, there's a bunch of games being played at Foxborough, Gillette Stadium. And so you get a bunch of people like, oh yeah, Boston, that's great. So they all fly to Boston. Like, where's the stadium? Like, it's, out that way or whatever.
45 minutes in different direction.
All right, well, there's a train there. Well, how much is the train? Well, the train's like $20 normally. They jacked the price up, so they're charging people $75 each way. Like it's just, it's so gross what it is that's happening, and it's not just, a lot of this is FIFA, but, a lot of it also is everybody else is like, well, if they're screwing over the consumer,
price gouging, everything,
screw it all.
Raising up ticket prices, train prices, hotel prices, restaurants are going to have convenient feeds. It stinks.
Yeah,
but
I mean, everything.
You got to pay for that FIFA Nobel Peace Prize with something. You got to raise funds, All right.
Yeah,
I got to go.
I mean, these FIFA Peace Prizes, they don't just make themselves.
No. Yeah. All right. Listen.
All right, Marty.
I
we
need to
did
take
well
a shower.
here.
I haven't showered yet. I need to take a shower. I've only had 3 cups of coffee. I just
and we stayed connected for an entire broadcast.
And by the way, that was Scanlan's Wi-Fi that conked out. He said he disappeared. That's not me. You and I are both here, so it's not my fault all the time.
Did you see the debut of Leitner and Lazovic?
Oh, I did see that, but Leitner has problems with the Wi-Fi.
He always does.
Because when we did our roundtable, we had him and Bochy and Buddy and Hoffy to honor Ted in his retirement. He disappeared like 10 different times. So he either has to move, get a new service, something like that. But I did. So
yes,
go get
Marty
him,
had to
Teddy.
deal with this. So Marty, I think you had a sympathetic view of what it was that happened on that debut episode,
I do.
where Ted's like, I can't hear anybody, and then
I
he
I
just
can't see
disappears.
what's happening. I know,
And he leaves
I
poor
know.
Laz there telling stories about Qualcomm in the '80s for 20 minutes.
Gosh. All right, real quick, Darren, because I've got to take a shower. My gosh, this has been fun
Go.
though.
By the way, thanks for
Oh.
setting us up with that hot tub clip.
What?
I got a bunch of people asking me questions about you and your hot tub.
No, that question was about you and your hot tub, and I genuinely believe you've been in more hot tubs with sources than me. I know for a fact. I'm done with this topic. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I do want to promote with my hat our latest episode of Friar Territory and the Foul Territory Network. Was a conversation about Xander Bogaerts, good stuff, the swag, a lot more reaction from Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth on the City Connect. So I'm looking forward to seeing them all together tonight and perhaps getting more reactions. But good stuff, Darren. Have a great weekend. Great weekend.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
your
my
people can
Friday
find
is
us-
now 100% immersion into Minnesota United Football Club.
Oh wait, but wait.
Just have some-
After you upload this audio to the section 1904, right? Because people want the
Yes.
pod. We want to deliver. We're going to deliver here on the YouTube channel. We have a lot more coming next week. I'm looking forward to it. YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Yeah, Apple Podcast, Spotify so far. YouTube, we're trying to figure out. They've been a little tricky for us to.
It's been wonky, but I'll
It's
figure
been
it out.
a little
tonight.
wonky. People can check
All
it
right.
out on Substack as well. I'm
Yes, sir.
enjoying a little bit of the writing aspect of it.
Good.
I also explain why Substack, because some people like Substack. We're not supporting that. And listen, it's stable and it's user friendly and it's not costing any money.
Yep.
So
And also the media landscape is changing. And I hate saying this. There's a couple of different TV stations here that have gotten together. They're consolidating staff. And so it's a disappearing industry. And so we're finding new ways to go ahead and deliver the goods. All right. Huge thanks to Bob Scanlan. I am Marty Caswell. That right there, that guy over there, D. Smith. We are brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Thank you so much for watching Marty Time TV and the Section 1904 podcast. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you, I believe, on Monday. Peace out. Bye, D.
I think it's high. I think that we have a lot of talented people. I think we have, some Hall of Famers in here and some perennial All-Stars. And now I think that it's just us coming together, finding our identity as an offense and, showing up with intent every day to win each game. And I think step one for this group is to win the games that we're supposed to win. That's what good teams do.